Very good morning, everybody. After a long time about Ethernet frames, today we are connecting again to discuss about Ethernet network configuration. When you want to connect your embedded device with Ethernet, Ethernet system, you have to follow certain connection type, right? No, so when you want to connect your embedded system with Ethernet to the PC directly or with another embedded device, you have to follow a connection type called crossover cable type, because your system and your that is another system should be connected via through a cable. Right now, in case of CAN, it is using twisted pair of cables. The same thing here, we follow an Ethernet cable, but in that cable also, based on the type of cable that we use and then the connection method that we use, we have a difference. We are going to discuss them in detail today in this session. Among them, when you want to connect your embedded device with Ethernet with the PC or with another embedded device, you have to follow a method called a connection type called twisted pair crossover cable. The twisted pair, we know about it. What is twisted pair? And the crossover cable is nothing but it is a method of connection. The pins of, because every cable used to have two ends, right? Now one end and another end, every end will have their own connectors. When you connect the first pin of the connector in the one side with with the different pin in the another end, connector in the another end, that is called as crossover cable. When you directly connect your pin 1 to pin 1, pin 1, pin 2 to pin 2, that is called as straight through cable. These are the two different connection type that we have in Ethernet cables. That is when it comes to the connecting your system with a PC. What are those? Crossover cable and the straight through cable, right? Now, okay, so when we want to connect our embedded system to the PC via a repeater or Ethernet switch, then we can use straight through cable. Here we don't need that crossover cable. Why? Because the repeater will take the switching of that signals from one end where it should go to another end. Right now, that is taken care by repeater hub or Ethernet switch. But when you directly connect the system with another system or with a PC, your TX should, the TX pin of embedded system should be connected with the RX pin of your PC or another embedded device. A similar way, the RX pin of your the embedded system should be connected with the TX pin of that PC. That's why we require a crossover cable. But when it comes to straight through cable, that the connection of the TX with the RS, TX with one other end with an RS is taken care by the repeater hub or Ethernet switch. That's why we don't need crossover cable here. Okay, no. So these are the two different cable type based on the connection method. Right now, here is a diagram which explain about the straight through and crossover. In case of straight through, we connect pin 1 with the pin 1, pin 2 to pin 2, like that, pin 8 to pin 8. Whereas in case of crossover, we have a pin 1 to pin 3, pin 1 in one end to the pin 3 in another end, pin 2 in one end, 2 pin 6 in another end, like that. Pin 8 in one end is connected to pin 4 in another end. But how they come up with these from where they've made the logic like the pin 1 of should be connected with the pin 3? There is a standard to follow. Based on that, they made these connection that we have to understand. Okay, no. Then one of the long-standing question in our mind, like why people are using twisting? Why people are twisting the wire? Why don't they keep it straight? If there are two wires, why don't they keep them straight? Why they need a twist in that wire? The answer to that question is like we have that in this slide. So the twist reduce noise in the cable in two ways. It reduces noise in the cable. That's why to reduce the noise, we make the twist. So by uh, how it reduce? By reducing the size of magnetic field. So when you keep your cable straight, then the size of magnetic field will be bigger. That will create an, if you have a parallel cable, or if you have if you bring a connector into that magnetic field, we can create a security breach by means of like by creating the EMF induction right now. So using that, you can create a security breach. So that is reduced when we use a twisted pair cable, because it reduces the magnetic field. Magnetic field that emanates from the wire, and by cancelling any noise to the wire pick up via magnetism. So it cancels that switch noise. The twist cancel the noise. That's why we go for the twisted pair cable. That we all have to understand. Then the Ethernet cable that we have, right, the connecting one Ethernet system with another Ethernet system, right, there are different type of cables available. They are like category 3, category 5, 5E, 6, 6A and 7. So when you, depends on the that is speed in which you operate your Ethernet system and the type of communication that you are doing, you have to use different type of cables. So among them, the category 3 and category 3, 5, 5E and even category 6 is unshielded twisted pair. That means without shielding, they use a twisted pair of wire for communication. So that is what the cable type, with respect to cable type, they are using this one. The category 6 also uses sometimes shielded twisted pair. Okay, no, that is the thing. The category 6A is shielded twisted pair, and category 7 on the other hand uses foiled twisted pair. That means instead of shielding, you will find a metallic foil around the wire. That is what a foiled twisted pair. So these are the different cable, that is the type of cable that is used in different categories. Okay, no. Then when you consider about, when you think about or when you speak about transmission speed, the category 3 can be used up to 10 Mbps, and category category 5, 5E and 6 can be used either for 10 or 100 or 100 Mbps, 1000 Mbps. When it comes to the category 6A, you can use it for 10,000 Mbps because it's a shielded twisted pair. So you have an additional transmission speed in that one. Then when it comes to category 7, you can use it for to transmit the signal, which is 10,000 Mbps, but it's similar to what is 6A does. Okay, now then the bandwidth of the category 3 is 16 megahertz, category 5 and 5E is 100 megahertz, category 6 is 250 megahertz, category 6A is 500 megahertz, and category 7 is 600 megahertz. Based on the bandwidth, each category of cable can support different bandwidth. Okay, now here is an expansion of acronym UTP and STP is given. UTP means unshielded twisted pair, and STP means shielded twisted pair, and FTP means a foiled twisted pair with respect to Ethernet cable type. Among these, that is usually the twisted pair, right, metallic wire, which is a copper wire, right? No, this is because the copper is a very good conductor, that's why they go for it. That is how we see it. Every the electronic system use that one. We do have another type of cable called a fiber optic cable. It has a lot of advantages than this twisted pair. Some of them are including the immunity to electrical interference, because the fiber optic cable use the light as a medium of transmission. That means the light has been used as a signal. There is no electron movement. It's just like an it's a light signal, so it will not create any set of magnetic field. Because of that, we are it is immune to noise, that is interference, electrical interference. Similar way, it is also immune to lightning damage. So it won't, because it is not an electrical signal, so it won't have any problem. Then the people cannot tap the signal by creating by influencing the creating a magnetic field, or they can not influence the fiber optic cable. So the security breaches is not at all possible in case of fiber optic cable. So the lengthwise, the fiber optic cable supports up to 5,000 meters, nearly 5 kilometers. it can go up to that without any attenuation. You can get the data on the other hand. So the length is nothing but like what is the when you transmit a signal up to how many kilometers you can get the signal without any attenuation. That is the matter. So it is 5 kilometers in case of fiber optics. The limitation of the sophistication of fiber optics comes along with the price. We have to pay a price for that all these advantages, because this fiber optic cable itself very pricey. Again, in additional hardwares and communication things that we need to implement this cable in the communication is very pricey. Okay, now based on the cable type, that is the type of cable that we use, we have a difference. That's how we listed here. If the based on the twisted pair with respect to data rate, the twisted pair supports up to 1000 mbps. Fiber optic supports 10,000 mbps. When it comes to coaxial, it support only 10 mbps. Coaxial is nothing but inside the center of the cable we used to have a that is what is a wire with a single stand, and then there will be a the shield over it, right? No, that is what the coaxial cable. So it supports only 10 mbps. Then we have the length per segment. The length of twisted pad can be up to more than 100 meters. When it comes to fiber optic, it is 2000 meter for half duplex and 5000 meter in case of full duplex. The coaxial cable support, if it is a thick coax, it supports 500 meters, and if it is a thin coax, it supports only 185 meters. The cost of twisted pair is very low because it's simply an wire. The that is copper wire with the twisted copper wire. So it is very cheap. When it comes to fiber optic, as I told you, it is very pricey. Then the coaxial cable price is very less, but the coaxial cable is about to die. The peoples are always because it has been there, the standard, the Ethernet standard recommend the coaxial, or it speaks about the coaxial for communication. But when it comes to as there is a development in the technology, now the peoples are going either twisted pair or fiber optic cables. The noise immunity in case of twisted pair is very good, and the fiber optic, it is excellent. The coaxial, it is it is also good, but not like fiber optics. When it comes to installation wise, installing like a twisted pair cable is very easy, and it is very you can easily implement that, install it. So that's why the ease of installation is very excellent in case of twisted pair. But when it comes to fiber optics, if you buy a prefabricated cable, so it would be very good. The installation is very easy. When you try to connect the cable with the connector by yourself, you will create a lot of mistake that will lead to attenuation of signals, and the installation will be a little bit tricky to you. When it comes to coaxial, it is we can't say like using coaxial we can achieve very great that is, it is very easy to install, or it is we can achieve much. So we can say that as a fair, that means somehow good. The installation is somehow easy in case of coaxial. Okay, no, okay team, that's all today. We discuss about that is different type of cables used in Ethernet communication based on the connection type, and then based on the cable type and the material used to create that cable, right? No, so those are we studied. Also we elaborated, or we discuss about the advantage and disadvantages of fiber optics cable. Okay team, thanks for your patience. Let me catch you with another good video. Till the time let me catch you with another video. Thank you. Bye.